Good evening and welcome everyone. It's February 9th, 7:06 p.m. All trustees are present except for Alex, who is absent, including our students. Please rise and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, next we move on to approval of the meeting agenda. Do I have a motion? Second? Second. Moved by Catherine, seconded by Esme. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Oh, sorry. Lucy, how do you vote? Yeah.
Sorry, my brain's a little wonky today. Approved.
Claire, how do you vote?
I approve.
Sorry, board, will you vote again? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that's 4-0. Okay, next I have to report out on action taken in closed session. So, my notes, let's see. So a majority of the board voted 4-0 with Livage absent to approve a compromise agreement with the parents of a student to resolve potential and threatened claims against the district in exchange for funding of private services, placement, and attorney's fees for the student during the 2025-2026 year in an amount not to exceed $114,690. Okay, next is our usual notification that this session is audio taped and streamed. And now we move on to our students of the month. So let's go with, I think, let's do Claire. Claire from Mountain View High.
Mountain View High School proudly recognizes Natalie Chen as the February Student of the Month, honoring her exceptional leadership, dedication, and passion for serving her communities. At MVHS, Natalie exemplifies what it means to uplift diverse voices and create meaningful spaces for dialogue and advocacy. She currently serves as the executive producer of TEDx MVHS, where she leads a 17-member board in organizing a full-day TEDx event each January. Under her leadership, the event welcomed over 1,400 attendees and featured 11 student speakers, 2 performances, and 2 guest speakers. Natalie's involvement with TEDx MVHS spans all 4 years of high school. She delivered her own TEDx talk as a freshman and later served on the speakers committee, where she helped plan auditions and coached 4 student speakers individually. Her ability to guide and inspire others reflects her commitment to amplifying meaningful ideas. Natalie is a well-rounded and deeply involved member of the MVHS community. She is a dedicated avid tutor for Miss Escalante's Avid 10 class and has been a member of the varsity gymnastics team since her freshman year. She is also an active participant in the instrumental music program as a violinist in the chamber orchestra and previously performed in the pit orchestra for the school's production of Hadestown. Through MVLA Speech and Debate, she served as parliamentary debate captain and membership chair. In addition, she is a YFL head coach at Block Middle School, where she coaches middle school students weekly in fundamental parliamentary debate skills. One of Natalie's favorite experiences was traveling to Kentucky and Iowa for speech and debate nationals during her sophomore year. However, she shares that her most meaningful memories are the ones she creates every day at school, whether it's in class, at brunch, or during lunch with friends. Outside of school, Natalie enjoys attending concerts in San Francisco, playing the ukulele, and watching basketball. After graduation, she plans to attend a 4-year university. Natalie's leadership, initiative, and unwavering commitment to service makes her the well-deserving recipient of the 2026 February MVHS Student of the Month Award.
Natalie, congratulations. Do you have anything you'd like to say to the board?
I just want to say I am so incredibly grateful to attend Mountain View High School. I'm only the person I am today because of the endless opportunities that the school provides us and the incredibly just wonderful people I've met, the teachers I have, the friends I've made are all because of school. And I'm just so immensely grateful for Mountain View High School and MVLA in general.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, families.
Yes, I was like,
No, my parents are both at work, if that's okay.
okay.
Yeah.
All right, well. Next, we have Lucy presenting the Los Altos High School Student of the Month.
Good evening, members of the board, the superintendent, staff, families, and guests. It's my pleasure to spotlight the outstanding student of the month, Yolanda Aguilar Flores from Los Altos High School. Yolanda is an astounding student who pursues academic excellence, service, and leadership that embody the values of our school district. Her enthusiasm for learning has resulted in her consistently earning membership in the honor roll, as well as the Latino Academic Achievement Recognition Award. Additionally, apart from her academic excellence, she also has a great passion for uplifting and empowering other people, as she has demonstrated through her membership with the AVID program, which she helps others through her peer support and career options for students, as well as being a member of the Latino Student Union. The community service offered by Yolanda reaches beyond the campus, and she spends time volunteering at various activities, such as the Math Festival, school fundraising activities, and even family festivals and events, assisting with coordinating activities and ensuring the inclusiveness and accessibility of all participants, often acting as a Spanish translator. Moreover, what sets Yolanda apart is her genuine desire to make a difference. Whether she is working with younger children to help them learn, making families feel welcome in the community, or helping out her peers, Yolanda leads the way in these characteristics. She is the epitome of the best aspects of student leadership, academic achievement, and civic service. She is making a positive difference within her community and at the school level, and it is an honor to acknowledge her achievements. Congratulations, Yolanda, for being recognized as Student of the Month. We look forward to seeing all that you accomplish in the future.
Yolanda, congratulations. Do you have anything you'd like to say to the board?
Yes, I wanted to say that I'm really grateful for this opportunity. I'm just entirely grateful for the whole MVLA district because it has given me so many opportunities like volunteering and other meeting new people and just becoming who I am today because of all the opportunities and the new people and how much I have changed throughout the years, all because of the MVLA. So thank you.
Thank you. Do you have any family present? All right. All right, so next we move to 8.0, our recognitions and resolutions. And we have our 8.1 MVLA Spotlight, introduced by our Director of Adult School, Julie Vo.
Good evening. MVLA Adult School is proud to honor Sunnyvale Post-Acute Center with the February 2026 Spotlight Award. Robert Pierce, the administrator, couldn't make it tonight, but on his behalf, we have Mitchell Tingson. Anthony Zapata, Director of Staff Development. Michelle Tingson is the Director of Nursing, and their staff have provided an excellent clinical site for MVLA Adult Schools certified nursing assistants and home health aides to do their bedside care in a supportive environment for the last 2 years. Sunnyvale Post-Acute is a 130-bed facility that gets 4-star reviews from residents, staff, and students. They have a wide variety of patients, which provides an excellent source of clinical experience for our students. At SPA, students are exposed to and allowed to participate in skills that expand their knowledge base beyond classroom learning. Experiences like wound vacs, complex dressing changes, impeccable infection control standards, bladder training, catheter care, mechanical lifts, participating in their activities room and engaging with the physical therapists, occupational therapists, and restorative nursing assistants. SPA goes the extra mile to work with our ESL students and allows the students to observe and participate. This site is exciting, inviting, and engaging. It is so much more than changing briefs, doing showers, and feeding the residents. They inspire students to aspire to higher education, such as licensed vocational nurse or registered nurses. They promote team spirit, especially during Nurses Week, with fun themes and events. Sunnyvale Post-Acute has a wonderful retention rate with their staff. That speaks very highly to their management team. They promote from within as well. Michael is a CNA that was hired as a new grad with no experience who was eventually trained to become an RNA. Anthony was the first treatment nurse and was promoted from within to become Director of Staff Development. They not only promote and educate themselves from within, but they also hire new grads. That is greatly appreciated by our school. We have had over a dozen students hired at their facilities during our 2 years together. Robert Pierce, the facility administrator, even went the extra mile to help a student get a job in the Sacramento area with the PACS Healthcare Network when she moved there to continue her nursing education. Another student shared that SPA convinced her that she had chosen the right career and returned to Northwestern University to complete her BSN. The staff at Sunnyvale Post-Acute exemplify the 6 principles of being a CNA: dignity, independence, safety, communication, privacy, and infection control. Their acute residents are receptive to students providing care or observing things that aren't within the scope of practice. The long-term residents are like family and are supportive to our students and each other. They always greet us warmly when we return with the new groups of students, and we celebrate our time with them. And I would love Ms. Lori, our Director of Nursing, Lori RN, to share the Florence Nightingale story.
Oh, thank you. There is a resident there who is family to the staff and my students. His name, I'll call him Mr.
Sorry, could you go up to the microphone so the video could hear you?
We have a resident at Sunnyvale Q, and he's like family there. I'll call him Mr. P. And about a year ago, at the end of our clinical rotation, he always says that we light up all the residents' lives when we come in as students. And I was getting ready to leave, and he's over against the hall in his wheelchair. He's an amputee. He's like, come here. And I went over there, and he showed me this candle, one of those little motif candles. And he said, I want you to share this with your students because they are the light of my life. They light up this world, and education is the key to their future. He said, remind them of Florence Nightingale, the lady with the lamp. So from that day forward, every graduation, I get my students a little motif candles, and we watch a little vignette about Florence Nightingale, the basics of nursing.
Thank you. That was very heartwarming. And thank you for all the work you do for our patients and for students. All right, so next we move on to 9.0, communications, and 9.1, board member reports. If you have a report, if you could raise your hand. Okay, the dean.
All right. So a couple of meetings that I have attended. A while back now, I've attended Los Altos PTSA for the first time. Last year, I was a part of the Mountain View PTSA, so it was nice to meet the Los Altos community. And two things that I wanted to emphasize here, I will give a voice. One is physics club. For some reason, I don't think our students have opportunity to take physics early on. I think like biology is required as a freshman class. I see a lot of kids taking calculus, but for some reason physics doesn't appear until I think junior year. Is that accurate assessment? I think it's way too late. I'm kind of sorry that physics has taken a back step. With all due respect to every, other sciences, I think physics is amazing. So what this club emphasized, actually the kids said this, is that this is an opportunity to join the physics club, learn about physics before you get exposure to it, or you choose to get exposure to it in junior and senior year, because you really don't have enough time. And the other one that stuck with me was, I think they called it break the stigma, and that's how to not feel ashamed of feeling stressed and being open about it, because I probably plenty of students around you who are feeling stressed as well as adults, and it's a normal feeling that, we are much better equipped at dealing with when there is somebody who can listen to us. So just wanted to share those two things. There were others, but these are the two that really stuck with me. The second meeting that I attended with Alex recently was Family Partnership Council. It was the first meeting for me. Administration went through a pretty long explanation of how master schedules is put together. I don't think there were a lot of members of the community. I think a lot of people in the room were administrators and teachers, and so I'm not sure if that message went out. So I'm repeating it. It's a pretty complex process. So if you want more information, I don't know if there was a recording of the meeting, but the presentation, I'm sure, can be made available. And we also played a fun game about responsible AI that was facilitated by students. Okay.
Anyone else? Okay, I have a brief report. SV and I attended the Los Altos Mountain View PTA Council. Parents raised a range of topics. They were from all of our districts. I don't have any MVLA specific updates beyond what this board has already received. I also attended the Mountain View Rotary Crab Feed with our superintendent, Eric, and several of our staff. it was lovely to see our community come out, and it's events like this that remind me that we are a community. And to add what the dean said, we are a community that supports one another in times of stress. And we hope that we are all here for you as students to serve you. That's what our goals are about. That's why we're here. Okay, so next we're going to move on to our student board member reports. So let's start with Lucy this time from Los Altos High School.
Good evening, everyone. I'm excited to share a few additional highlights from student activities and leadership on campus. This Wednesday, our school will be hosting ASB and class council elections, which are an important part of ensuring student voices are represented in decision-making and event planning. Candidates have been actively campaigning, sharing their goals, and encouraging student engagement. Elections like these give students valuable leadership experience while helping shape the direction of student activities, school spirit, and community initiatives for the upcoming year. In addition, our campus recently hosted a Blue Friday pipe cleaner flower making event. This activity provided students with a creative and welcoming space to connect with others, de-stress, and participate in a simple but meaningful community building activity. We also had the pleasure of seeing our Twin Oaks Taiwanese exchange students host a Taiwanese culture event on campus. This event featured a variety of traditional Taiwanese snacks and interactive night market style games, allowing students to experience an important aspect of Taiwanese culture. It was wonderful to see students from different backgrounds come together to learn, share, and celebrate cultural traditions. Events like these strengthen global connections and foster cultural appreciation within our school community. Thank you for your continued support of student leadership opportunities and programs that help create a vibrant and inclusive campus environment.
Thank you, Lucy. Do any of the board have any questions or comments? All right, let's move on to Claire from Mountain View High School.
Hello, everyone. I hope you all are doing well. It has been a busy and exciting couple of weeks at Mountain View with more events to come. Last weekend, we had a highly successful winter ball dance in the school gym. Many attendees, including myself as a senior, shared that it was one of their favorites, with the DJ playing fan favorites, each participant receiving 6 Ches tacos, and a variety of photo ops and hangout spaces. As ASB looks ahead to the next month, we are excited for events such as the highly anticipated Spartan Madness 2-week basketball tournament, as well as ASB elections and campaigning following the break. Ambassadors are also hosting a Valentine's Day themed Spartans Pause this Friday, featuring activities such as crafting tote bags for families at Life Moves, honoring Black History Month with BSU, petting a pause dog, and more. Other organizations remain busy as well. Spring sports season is officially underway, with tryouts completed, registration finished, and games starting as soon as next week. Counselors have also been very active, visiting feeder middle schools with ASB students to discuss freshman course selections, share student experiences, and answer questions. Another group successfully bringing real and authentic school spirit this month has been the MVHS Choir with their famous annual Singing Valentines. For the entire school day today, or one day a week where every student goes to each of their classes, over 1,000 songs were sung to carry love and togetherness throughout the school. These Valentines were so popular that they were sold out over 2 days before the sale ended. All in all, it's been an eventful and exciting couple of weeks for many groups on our campus. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Claire. Does anyone have any questions or comments for Claire? All right, seeing none, let's move on to the superintendent's report.
Okay, 2 weeks ago, I attended the Association of California School Administrator Superintendent Symposium, along with about 400 other superintendents from across the state. One of the hot topics there was the governor's plan in his recent budget proposal to change the structure of California school governance by appointing a director of CDE from his office and moving the state superintendent of instruction to an actual committee member, board member, commission member, and pretty much relegating him to everything not CDE other than sitting on the state board. uh, pretty interesting. This would make CDE more beholding, more responsive to the governor, and I'll leave it up for other people to decide whether or not that's a good thing or a bad thing. Also, I want to give kudos to our principals and the district office staff who on the 30th of January balanced maintaining a sound academic environment while also acknowledging our students' passion for keeping our community safe. They monitored the walkout, they monitored our students, they made sure that our students were safe and that our students were good neighbors to the community. A parent came to me afterwards and talked about how proud her student was to participate in something that was bigger than the class that she was missing. So I just want to acknowledge those principals and those administrators that were with our students that day. Kip, Tracy, Terry, and Layla, as well as campus supervisor Kevin Mack. And we'll turn it over to our principals right now. We're going to start off with Alternative Ed and Alta Vista. Ms. Woolfolk.
Hello, good evening, everyone. Thank you for the time to hear about alternative programs. Few things should you be talking to those in the community or students at your school. There's been quite a few open houses happening when it comes to alternative programs. Last Thursday, Freestyle had their open house from 5 to 8:30. It's always a great experience, and there were 58 different visitors. I met students as young as, incoming 8th graders, excited to see about our program. And just keep in mind, if you want that visit for the exhibition in May, that's a really exciting one as well, where you get to see current students and their work. This week tomorrow night, we have the open house for College Now. It'll be tomorrow, 6 p.m. In Foothill, at Foothill College, room 5015. And then Middle College open house will be this Thursday, same time, 6 p.m. in the Foothill College dining hall. So those are opportunities come up as our alternative programs are recruiting and taking applications on a rolling basis, but the bulk of the applications come in through February and March. Summer also is in growth mode with counselors assigning for credit recovery, but also really exciting opportunities for incoming 9th and incoming 10th. Incoming 9th Academy will be a 6-day workshop to help students get used to and get to know both campuses through field trips, through also learning about how the structure of the campuses work and what the requirements are for graduation and building community. Incoming 10th will also have a bit of a shorter possibility, but it's a 2.5-day workshop helping students get to use, it's 1 credit in digital media located at Freestyle, and they get to tinker with the toys and see what alternative programs are all about for a 2.5-day workshop incoming 10th. Alta Vista wise, we are very much in the community building spirit, and especially as we go off to not being together for a week. I know that's exciting for many students, and it is for our students too, but it also creates some destabilization and worries. And so we like to create a strong friend, Valentine kind of feel. We have lots of things happening, and one of those is a Valentine shop, so that with their incentive Alta Store dollars, they can actually buy Valentines that our culinary and our art programs and I are making, so that they buy with the dollars they earn in their classes to buy Valentines for themselves, their friends, or their family. Thank you.
Next up, from Adult Education, my fellow crab feeder, Ms. Vo.
Evening, everyone. So Adult Ed is one of the things that I'm most proud of is the progress we've made as a school over the last 3 years with our WAS School-Wide Action Plan. And we look forward to reporting on that at the next meeting to the board. During our last WAS visit, MVLA Adult School was reaffirmed with the maximum 6-year accreditation renewal by ACS WAS, the Western Association of Schools and Colleges. And in the committee's final report, MVLA Adult School was rated highly effective in most areas and was acknowledged for our strong fiscal management, strong organizational infrastructure, and school leadership. Our adult school received commendations for the wide variety of student support services we provide and for the community partnerships we have established and grown to support the high achievement of all students, like you saw with Sunnyvale post-acute today. So currently what we are working on is our WASC midterm report in preparation for our midterm virtual visit on April 23rd. Simultaneously, we're also preparing for our federal program monitoring, or FPM. That will take place at the end of March. This is the first time in 20 years that we have had an FPM, which is essentially a federal audit. We're also finishing the final updates on our school-wide safety plan, as well as getting ready for the online summer school. And that online summer school application will go live at the end of March, on March 19th. And in looking to the future, I am excited to share that the North Santa Clara County Consortium, which we're a part of, our leadership board is currently planning for our spring member summit that will take place on March 20th at Foothill College. This is an annual consortium-wide event where we get to update all of our consortium members from the 5 schools: Foothill, De Anza, Palo Alto Adult School, Fremont Union, High School District Adult School, and MVLA on the progress we have made as a consortium towards our annual and 3-year plans. And we provide program information from each agency and also engage in fruitful discussions that will help strengthen our collaboration as a regional adult ed consortium. One of the things we're working on as a consortium is to build the NSCCC School of Health Sciences is the idea, and we're just starting this plan now. But essentially what it's going to do is create a way for adult ed students to transition into the healthcare pathways at both Foothill and De Anza College, which has historically been an impacted pathway. So it's actually quite an innovative and radical idea, and I'm glad we have the support. Just kind of sharing it with our board and the public tonight, and it's something we'll be working on over the next year. Thank you.
From Los Altos, Dr. Ranieri.
Good evening. I'm going to start by sharing some school highlights, the first of which was talked about a little bit by Superintendent Volta. But on January 30th, we had about 25% of our students who participated in a student-organized nationwide walkout in protest of violent actions by ICE in the United States. And while our staff did not endorse or participate in the walkout, there is an article that the Talon published if you're interested in learning more about the student perspective of that walkout as they were interviewed and they described their experience. Saturday night was the closing performance of our biannual musical, Singin' in the Rain, was our performance this year. And our orchestra provided the music. We had amazing vocal and acting performances, and the technical aspects were visually beautiful. So I just feel like I need to recognize how many people it takes to put on a musical, including our music, our dance, our vocal, and our drama teachers, as well as our theater manager and all of the parents who volunteer their time and energy to support our performer. I am so thankful for their efforts, and I'm impressed with the quality of the production that they created. In terms of community engagement, Assistant Principal Kristen Castillo and I visited the PTSA of Egan Junior High last week to welcome our incoming 9th grade parents. And our goal was really just to let parents know that we're here to support our families and our students as they navigate that move to Los Altos High School because we know how mysterious and daunting that transition can feel for folks. So there was a lot of excitement from our parents, and we're always happy to visit with our families who are coming in from 8th grade to share what Los Altos offers. We have our site council meeting tomorrow where we will be reviewing our annual safety plan and incorporating some new state requirements, such as an instructional continuity plan and protocols for immigration enforcement notification. Regarding teaching and learning, last week was our first professional learning of second semester, and I want to thank Carol Johnson, Layla Benson, Laura Padilla, and Mary Donahue for hosting a very helpful informational panel that was tailored to our classified staff to address common issues such as leave balances, vacation days, sick days, workers' comp, and mental health resources. Our teachers participated in constructing meaning session, or they worked with their course team to identify a shared instructional strategy that they're going to focus on this semester, as well as a focal student to use as a case study to monitor the efficacy of the instructional strategy that they're incorporating. Finally, in terms of student success and well-being, today administrators and the English language development teachers and staff recognized our students' academic achievements from first semester. We presented certificates of achievement to each of the students in the ELD classroom, as well as a cupcake, a little treat. We applauded each of them for their hard work, and we hope that this helps to support and reinforce the fact that we know that our ELD students are doing two things at once, and that is learning English and meeting their graduation and college entrance requirements. Thank you.
And finally, from Mountain View, Dr. Glazier.
Good evening. From our student front, I received 3 or 4 Valentine grams today, along with our office staff. So I'm super excited that that tradition is continuing, and I want to thank Ms. Jill Denny and her staff for organizing, practicing, and orchestrating, frankly, all the performances throughout the campus. We also have our Future Business Leaders of America just won several awards. First place in business management went to Alexei Fedorov, and we have about 12 students who won various awards. And Ms. Gilmore reported that there are some schools who brought 200 students, but we brought 20, and we won 12 or 13 awards. So I think we're doing really well in terms of ratios. And we also had several arts awards, and I want to thank Ms. Knopf for sharing that, and I put it into my Friday newsletter. And Sayali just placed multiple and won multiple first place awards. So our students are enjoying and pursuing their passion. So I'm glad to see that. And going last, I had similar thanks to Carol Johnson, Layla Benson, Laura Padilla, and Joanna Plymell for hosting a town hall. And I think that it is wonderful to see that our non-teaching staff receiving much needed professional development. So we hope to have that continue, and we received lots and lots of positive feedback. And our teachers also did constructing meaning, and I think that's a good news that we are aligned in both sides and improving our instructional practices. In terms of our ELD front, Summit K-12 is being used for our students to get ready for LPAC testing. And I want to thank Terry for supporting our EL students and getting very targeted intervention, and we hope to see improvement on that. On the community front, last week we had our Latino parent organization meeting, and thanks to Ms. DeVolta for participating. And we also had Siren come and share the knowledge in regards to Know Your Rights. And we also had our Chinese New Year celebration with our tea time on Friday. This is the year of Fire Horse that is representing optimism and positivity. So we wish all of you Happy New Year.
That concludes the superintendent's report.
Thank you. Does the board have any questions or comments? Okay, I just wanted to pass on quickly that we are a continuous improvement district, so we often receive emails about what we could do better, and there's definitely things we could do better. So when we receive an email about something we're doing well, I want to report back that we did receive an email about the communication of the January 30th walkout and how it was the student said they knew exactly what to do. And also I want to note that it, as Dr. Neary said, that staff would not be involved in the protest or making any statements for or against it. So it was very clear with our policies and also what students could do and also how they could get excused absence. So it was very clear communication, and that was what the community member said. So thank you. So next we move on to our district organizations. I don't see anyone in the audience, so I'm going to move on to public comments on items not on the agenda. So isn't this okay. I'm not sure this is okay. So okay, so this is inventory.
Good evening, members of the board. My name is Evan Torrey. I have 2 children attending MVHS, including a current 9th grader. 2 weeks ago, I spoke to you about the confusion and frustration felt by parents over the lack of timely communication from the school district about changes to the ethnic studies graduation requirements. Many parents who talked to me were upset that the other electives were filled almost immediately and that there was no in-district or out-of-district online health option offered as an alternative for the second semester. We were very happy then to see at the last board meeting that Supervisor Volter committed to vetting out-of-district health classes immediately, such that 9th graders could complete their mandatory health requirement this semester. To date, though, we have heard no more about this option. But time is of the essence. We need to know more about this option now. After Friday of this week, any student who decides to drop from ethnic studies in order to take health online will be assigned an indelible W on their transcript. By delaying making any alternative options available, the school district is keeping students in a holding pattern, currently providing only the one option of dropping the elective and receiving 0 credits. Unfortunately, I do not have access to the actual numbers of students who have chosen this option, nor how many would drop ethnic studies if only health online were an available option. I can tell you, though, that amongst my own 9th graders' 10 closest friends, 5 have dropped ethnic studies, 2 would drop ethnic studies if health online were available, 2 have been prevented from dropping ethnic studies due to the school's constraints on requiring 6 academic classes, and 1 is continuing on with ethnic studies, very happy with their decision to do so. The high attrition rate in this group is really quite striking, given that students are choosing to give up 5 credits and instead receive 0. The thing is, many parents believe that the communicated constraints on dropping the second semester of ethnic studies have been constructed to limit the attrition rate as much as possible, and that without these constraints, attrition would increase even more. Indeed, as I've communicated in email to you, some of the statements about what can be done seem to be more recommendations than actual requirements. And as recently as this past Friday, a school counselor told my own son that it was the board who was responsible for the list of constraints placed on who could drop ethnic studies, a statement which you all know is clearly false. This whole issue and the way it has been handled is not something parents would expect from a professionally run school district. It really does lead parents and students to wonder what is truly going on behind the scenes. Are we being treated as equal partners in public education, or are we considered subservient to some who believe that they know better than us about our own children's educational choices? Thank you for your time.
Okay, next we have Davina Miller.
Good evening, members of the board and superintendent. My name is Donica Miller and I work with Silicon Valley Clean Energy, also known as SVCE. SVCE is a not-for-profit electricity provider for 13 communities in Santa Clara County, including Mountain View and Los Altos. Part of our mission is to reinvest in the communities we serve by supporting innovative education initiatives, which is what I'm here to speak about tonight. This year, we're hosting our 6th annual Student Scholarship Competition. We're holding an art contest that will be open to 3rd through 12th graders. The theme is Powering Communities, and elementary, middle, and high schoolers will be asked to create a certain art piece according to it. I'll mention specifically that high schoolers will be asked to create an art piece for a new headquarters building, which will be opening this summer. Winning submissions will be distributed as stickers or featured in the community by SVCE. Winners will receive scholarships to pursue their ongoing educational endeavors. We encourage students of all abilities to please apply. I will provide a stack of flyers explaining the contest in further detail, including the link to the submissions page and our contact information. I would encourage you to please forward this information to your schools. We also want to share a quick update about an upcoming grant opportunity for school facilities. SVCE will be releasing an application this spring for a new grant program focused on building electrification and electric vehicle projects. Additional details on eligibility and project requirements will be shared soon on our solicitations page. I appreciate your time tonight. We at SVCE appreciate all the work that you do and look forward to continuing to support our students.
All right, so next we move on to 10.0, presentations, reports, and information. So we have a presentation on Los Altos High School's collaboration with Twin Oaks. And that will be presented by our principal, Dr. Tracy Ranieri.
I'm not going to present. I just want to introduce these two amazing educators, Connie Chen, our world language teacher who teaches Mandarin, and Sarah Alvarado, our leadership ASB and SCL teachers. And, you know, as a principal, I'm sure you also experience this. You get a lot of solicitations from people with lots of great ideas and plans for your school and your students. And Maggie Lynn from Twin Oaks reached out to me 3 years ago looking for a high school that offered a Mandarin language program so that students from Taiwan could come and we could do not an exchange exactly, but just share some educational experiences in the United States. And when I passed along the information to our teachers, they took it from there. So I'll let them describe.
Good evening. I'm very honored to be here to share about our collaboration with Twin Oaks, an education institute based in Taiwan. So this is actually our 3rd year partnering with Twin Oaks. It all started with an email forwarded to me by Dr. Ranieri in August 2023. And when I saw the email, I was super excited. I was very interested in project-based learning and possibly international collaboration. So I emailed and reached out to Maggie Lin, co-founder of Twin Oaks, and we immediately clicked, and I found that we actually share a lot of common goals. I really hope that my students get international project collaboration experiences. I would like to see my students apply their Mandarin skills to meaningful projects that promote critical thinking. And I would like my students to develop, to have a growth mindset and to develop the mindset and vision to become global citizens. So I started working with Maggie. We co-planned and designed a 2-week program. We're very grateful for the admin team at Los Altos High and Sarah as well to make that happen. So in January 2024, we welcomed our first group of visitors from Taiwan. So they joined my Mandarin classes. So we have a buddy system where each visiting student was paired up with a student in Mandarin program. So they shadow their buddies' classes for a week. And then for that 2-week program duration, they joined my Mandarin class as well as Sarah's SCL class to work on a research project on social media anxiety. So it was very lovely to see my students, having that international collaboration, working with students from Taiwan, communicating in a mix of Chinese and English. So at the end of the 2-week program, they were able to actually put on an exhibition, sharing their findings with the whole school on social media anxiety for the past 2 years. And just 2 weeks ago, we welcomed our third group of visitors. This year, the 35 visitors were split into 6 groups, joining 6 of our 11 Mandarin classes, allowing more students to have the opportunity to collaborate with our visitors from Taiwan. As you can see, the outcomes are very, very positive. Our students spoke highly of their experience. Many of them told me that they still keep in touch with their buddy from last year or even the year before. So I see so much value in this collaboration, and I'm so grateful for the opportunity. My students learn a lot, and they get to make new friends. They get to apply their language skills, and more importantly, they have this wonderful experience to work with students from across the world. And Sarah. Sure.
Thank you. So a few other things, and maybe I can get this, maybe you can get the video to play. Yeah. Sharing a little bit more about this year. Let the video play. Yeah. We did research with the Twin Oaks folks in the last couple of years. This year was much more focused on helping the Twin Oaks folks share their culture with our students at Los Altos, and bringing more of that sort of global citizen kind of curriculum and experience to Los Altos. So ASB and SCL students lended their expertise of hosting and putting together various activities like we do during, say, Diversity Week, which we did the week prior. And they met with Maggie and some of her students ahead of their visit to do some pre-planning and brainstorming, and then ultimately came up with a bunch of different stations, as you see pictured here, where they got to share some experiences that are very unique to Taiwan, games that they would play at night markets or even as children. And Connie, Miss Chen here, and I actually talked about it during the lunchtime activity, that she even remembered some of these kind of nostalgia games that were shared by our folks from Twin Oaks. And as you can see in these photos, as well as that video, a lot of our students at Los Altos were really engaged in learning about and talking to all of the students from Twin Oaks. So we're really excited to have had this for yet a 3rd year and hope to continue that partnership. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions or comments? Catherine.
So are some of our students going to get to go over to Taiwan?
Not as part of this particular partnership with them, but I know that there's been a lot of questions similar to that, and hopes to maybe try and get to that.
Yeah.
Thank you for presenting such a innovative program. It also fits with our graduate profile to make it global citizens, and it sounds like it's made a real impact on the students that have participated. Sorry, I can't speak somehow. Anyway, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Next, we move on to our 11.0, our consolidated agenda. Does anyone have any brief questions or wish to pull an item? Catherine.
I don't really have a question, I have a comment that I notice here, Indiana University, I went to Purdue in Indiana. So of course we're a big rival of Indiana, but my freshman roommate and childhood friend when I was in college had gone to this very journalism institute many decades ago when we were in school, when she was in high school before she went to college with me. And I'm just so thrilled to see that it's still a thriving and very good program for students to participate in. So.
Okay. Thank you. Are we ready for a motion?
I move we approve the consolidated agenda 11.1 through 11.7.
Okay, second.
I'll second.
Okay, moved by Catherine, seconded by Vadim. Claire, how do you vote?
I approve.
Lucy, how do you vote?
I approve.
Board, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that's 4-0. Okay, next we move on to 13.0, our business action items. We have our 13.1, independent auditors report for fiscal year 2024, 2025. Do you have a comment or we have a presentation? Okay, Mike Matheson.
No presentation, just provide background. This is the annual audit required by state law. All districts have to do this. Typically, this is done in December, but due to some delays from federal guidance on some federal dollars, about half the districts in the state were approved a extension to get this done by the end of January. So Crow is our audit firm that does this annual audit. And so you have paper copies, thick ones, as well as digital copies attached. The highlights are that there are no financial findings. There's one programmatic finding in terms of missing a deadline by a few dates, and that's already been rectified as it pertains to the comprehensive school safety plans at the school sites. I can say a lot more about it, but I think it's a typical annual thing. Towards the back of the audit is where it would mention any findings. If there were some, there's a lot of no findings, no findings, no findings. So we're quite pleased with that.
All right. Does anyone have any questions or comments?
I just have the one comment that we'll adjust. You said we have already adjusted some of our calendar things so that the board sees things in time to approve them by the time the state really wants them. As such, I would now move that we accept the independent auditor's report for 2024 to 25.
Okay, second. Okay, moved by Catherine, seconded by Esme. Okay, Lucy, how do you vote?
I approve.
Claire, how do you vote?
I approve.
Board, all in favor?
Aye.
Vadim?
I actually have the question.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, okay, go ahead.
About our reserve funds, are we under the required percentage?
Our reserve funds?
Yes.
We are not below the state required amount. If that's what you were specifically asking about.
I think we have a 17% reserve, right, that we've mandated.
Yes, that's our board policy on the reserve.
And where are we?
I can get you that specific percentage. I didn't come prepared off the top of my head to give you that specific percentage. We do include that in all of our budget updates and reports. So this was, as of our financial statement as of June 30th, 2025.
When you ask,
I was looking.
are you asking as far as the audit year or current year or budget year?
I was looking at this audit and I thought I saw, I'm looking, trying to find it now, sorry, that we were below the 17% that we established as a board.
Unaudited actual showed us as a couple $100,000 below. We didn't make it, but we are at 17% for this year.
And this is for the past year?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So since then we've recovered.
Yes.
Okay.
And also, as Mike said, the state doesn't demand anywhere near that. So their audit would not say we're out of compliance, just say we did not meet our own goal of the 17%, which is different than not passing the audit because we don't have enough compared to the state.
Okay, so just a point of order, if you have questions, if you could do it before we vote, because I'm gonna have to take the vote again now.
Okay.
So I'm gonna start again. I'm just gonna have to start again. So do I have, does anyone have any?
So
questions or-
we can talk about it in later section, but when we ask questions, if a board member immediately follows up saying, I propose that we start voting and somebody seconds, there's no opportunity for others to ask questions. All right, so this is how it went.
Well, also,
So hold on a second. So just to be clear, when I ask if there are any questions or comments, that's the time when you can indicate that you have questions or comments. So that is the time. That it is true that then Catherine made a comment and then, but I didn't see your hand, Vadim. So if you could have raised your hand, if you have a question or comment, then it's clear and I won't call the motion.
okay. May I also add that it's completely acceptable in parliamentary procedure to have questions after the motion before the actual vote. So you can make the motion first, or you can make it after the questions.
That's fine, but I had already called the vote. So anyway, does anyone have any questions before we call the vote? Because the motion's already on the table. Okay, I just want to make sure that you're okay. So everyone has had their questions answered, and now we can go to a vote. So we have to now vote again. So okay, Lucy, how do you vote?
I approve.
Okay, Claire, how do you vote?
I approve.
All right, board, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, all right, that's 4-0. Okay, so next you move on to 13.2, which is a proposed new board and regulation 1445, response to immigration enforcement, and removal of board policy and regulation 5145.13, response to immigration enforcement.
We're taking a.
All right, so making sure do we have any questions before we consider a motion?
I do have a question.
Okay,
Are you saying we are not required to have multiple readings of the changes to the board
No.
policy?
That is a practice that we have incorporated, many districts incorporate based upon recommendations from California School Boards Association.
Okay, so that's can be applicable for other urgent matters because this is considered to be an urgent matter due to the deadline.
okay. Does anyone else have any questions or comments? Please raise your hand. Catherine?
The only comment I have is that in a case like this where it is an emergency, that we have to get something that matches the law and everything. And it's to our advantage because of the crisis that these ICE actions and stuff have caused for us. There's no harm in revising it later too, if there's something more minor or whatever that we want to add, or something we disagree with that effect, as long as it's substantively reasonable now and we're taking the advice of CSBA. That is my opinion.
Okay, all right. Does anyone else have any questions or comments before we consider a motion? Okay, seeing none, do I have a motion?
I move that we approve this new board policy and regulation 5145.13.
Okay, second.
I'll second.
Okay, moved by Catherine, seconded by the dean. Okay, Claire, how do you vote?
I approve.
Lucy, how do you vote?
I approve.
Okay, board, all in favor?
Right.
Okay, that's 4-0. Okay,
1445. That's the one.
It says 5145.
No, those are the ones that are deleted, the 5,000.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
okay.
The
thank you for
removal of the,
catching that,
okay.
as
I
May-
said the one that was being removed instead of,
President, thank you for catching that for me.
yes, yeah.
All right, so next we move on to, and this is a first reading, so this is information, we're not going to take a vote. This is our first reading on administrative regulation. 16,641, anyways, alternative credits towards graduation. And first we have public comments. So we have Evan Torrey again.
Again. Good evening, members of the board. My name's Evan Torrey. I'm the parent of 2 Mountain View High School students. The changes to the policy on alternative credits for graduation would limit student options and negatively impact students with special circumstances and special needs. In addition, this policy does not align with the California Education Code, nor, as far as I'm aware, with policies on alternative credits in any other peer school districts around the Bay Area. There is no restriction in the California Education Code limiting out-of-district courses only to students with 6 classes, or prohibiting out-of-district credit for core courses. I believe that our students should not be more restricted than the students in neighboring districts. Principals and the superintendent should have the flexibility to approve out-of-district courses based on the specifics of the student's needs, rather than having their hands tied by a set of constraints that are out of step with other districts. Thank you for your time.
Okay, please raise your hand if you have any questions or comments. Okay.
Like an introduction first before we.
Sure.
Okay. This is an addition to our administrative regulation. It has been an administrative practice for us to limit the classes that are taken outside of the district for alternative credits. Our practice was any class that was taught within MVLA should not be approved for out-of-district credit. Fremont Union High School District, and speaking with their superintendent, has a similar practice. However, it's not written in their policy. A number of districts require first best instruction in their district for as a graduation requirement. This policy of 40 credits mirrors CSBA suggested language. It says the board has the authority to say what shall not be up for graduation. And looking at some of our past practices in having multiple discussions, we actually started on this before this became, we started on this policy months ago. We were looking for a policy that we could uphold consistently at all of our school sites. And we concluded that the core academic program of 4 years of English, 3.5 years of social studies, 2 years of science, 2 years of math, health, 2 years of world language, unless it's not taught at MVLA, and 2 years of physical education were the core graduation classes that should be taken on our site initially. That does not preclude a student from taking these classes either to improve a grade or for remediation to get credits for this class. We do acknowledge that the classes of 27, 28, 29 were under higher graduation requirements by having 4 years of social studies required. Prior to that, only 3.5 years of social studies were required, just like the next incoming ninth graders. So we do think that special consideration should be made to freshmen between the time that this is passed and the time that they graduate, which is 1.25 years, which is 3.25 years to be able to take out outside of the district. That in a nutshell is the addition.
Catherine?
One thing I noted is when I was reading it, and I won't say worried, but it was pondering the part on math, it's that the taking of math at the high school is so different. There's people that come in and not having any algebra at all and take algebra and geometry. That would be 2 years. There's people that took algebra and geometry somewhere else, like at Foothill or wherever, and then start at Algebra 2 here at Mountain View. But we're requiring you take 2 years here. So if the 2 years are trig and calculus, that's 2 years. If the 2 years are the very beginning ones, algebra and geometry, that's 2 years. So there's opportunity to take other things, other places, but 2 of the years have to be taken here. And so that is what made me feel pretty good about this particular layout. And so you can take lots of other things, other places too, but you need to take at least some of your fundamental academics here.
The spectrum of students are coming in to our district and what math class.
In particular math, yeah.
Okay, any other comments or questions? Dean?
Yes. So after reading this proposal, I disagree with the direction. I don't think that's the right place for a policy. Our neighboring districts, while they can have practices, none of them have this type of restrictive policy encoded as a board policy. Why would we do that as the only district that does it? The 40 credits is already a part of our alternative credits policy, so there is no necessary change that needs to be introduced. It makes sense. If you want to receive a diploma from MVLA, you should take a certain number of courses from MVLA. When I kind of remind ourselves what our board policies are meant to do, then
this is an administrative regulation. This isn't a policy. This is a regulation. It's how the policy is going to be enforced.
it is
AR.
I see. I'm mistaken. I thought it was a policy. All right. Regardless, I believe as administrative regulation, it is actually in violation to our board policy that seeks to foster opportunities for our students. I actually went and looked up what we said as a board. We said that we want to emphasize student opportunities through equity, academic flexibility, and personalized learning environments. Insisting that students take core classes at MVLA does not provide for flexibility and personalized learning consideration. It restricts students and will force us to consider exemptions because there's going to be plenty of exemption cases for students due to other circumstances who would be looking to take these classes outside of MVLA in order to graduate. So this, as an administrative regulation, it will make it more difficult for students to graduate. And none other districts have it as administrative regulation either. Which one? But
they've had a very strict policy regarding core classes for close to 30 years.
Okay.
And it was very consistently enforced because it was in the administrative regulations. We've been trying to consistently apply our policy and our practice. However, when we make exceptions, when do we have a rule? And it's awfully hard, and each exception means that it whittles down on the policy and practice. That's why I'm asking for the board to consider this as our practice. The students are going to Mountain View and Los Altos High School. They are getting their diplomas from Mountain View and Los Altos and Alta Vista High Schools. Middle college students have a unique middle college now, this or option B, or even freestyle students have a little bit different alternative program where some of these other, that is not beholden to this program. Although, because those programs are predominantly for juniors and seniors, the only classes that fall under for them is English and social studies, which is for our middle college students is also part of this. They will also fall under this.
So, I mean, Fremont, Menlo, Palo Alto, neighborhood districts don't have this.
They don't have it in administrative regulations, however, it is their practice, both Palo Alto and Fremont.
Yeah, and it is our practice today, per what I understand. So I think as a board, voting on something that is not consistently enforced, which I realize has been the case, isn't the right use of board's function. We should enforce things, we should do things in a consistent way that's transparent, that's well understood. But making it a regulation or even a board policy is not going to change that. So instead, what I recommend is that we treat this with the same sense of urgency that we just considered the changes to immigration policy. As we've heard from Mr. Torres and what I have seen in many WhatsApp messages, parents would really like us to create an opportunity, which we have acknowledged through the change to this regulation, that the students who are graduating in 27, 28, and 29 have been impacted by the year-long requirement of ethnic studies because they have not had an opportunity to take health. So we can immediately, because we have no board policy, we have no regulation, we can immediately as a board ask our superintendent to reverse the statement that was issued on sometime in January, that says that students cannot take health outside of district, and basically say the students can take health outside of the district. And then we can continue discussing whatever other changes we may need. But there is no reason to delay this decision until the next meeting, when it will be too late for students to make a decision without consequences of receiving a W for dropping ethnic studies. So my ask of the rest of the board is to instruct the superintendent to allow students to take health outside of the district, just like it is right now. The prohibition of that is a part of the administrative decision. It's not a board decision. And I believe restricting things now and in the future is not in line with our board policy because it will prevent students from graduating. It makes things more difficult.
Well, as a point of order, this is on the agenda as an information item, so you can't vote. And administratively, I don't believe that's the right tack to take right now.
Okay, does anyone else?
I don't
Sorry.
see an emergency situation. Just, I don't see either freshmen want to stay in their ethnic studies courses or they don't want to stay in their ethnic studies courses. We also believe that freshmen should be enrolled in a minimum of 6 classes a day. So students that, even if students had 6 classes, freshmen and sophomores had 6 classes, they wouldn't be able to drop ethnic studies to take an outside class. So it only applies to those students that have 7 classes currently. And when this is, and if they don't want to be in ethnic studies, they can drop before the end of this week. And when this is passed, if they want to take an online health class, they can. But I feel like this, in order to allow students to take health online, I believe it should be a board vote. I know this board has felt very strongly about health being taken within our program. And I think it sends a strong message because of the inconsistencies that no, we are revisiting this and we're going to vote and this is how we feel.
Okay, does anyone else have any questions or comments?
About
Catherine?
this or about health or about what? Or we can't discuss the other.
We're just discussing it, right? So,
Okay. Well, I think that the mistake, if you will, was communication, as Evan pointed out. My son's name is Evan too. But I think it turned out differently than I was thinking. My whole concept when we reduced to 1 semester was that anybody currently in it would stay for the whole year because they're only getting half of a class. And next year, we are not going to have half of a class. We're going to have a coordinated combination of the most important or according to the state and according to the social studies teachers of the content in an ethnic studies class. So really you're dropping what might be some of the more important content if you don't finish taking the 2nd semester this year. That was never the intent in my mind when we voted for it that way. It was just meant as the graduation requirement. So if for some reason you hated it so much that you didn't want to get the rest of the content from ethnic studies, I guess you could drop it if you had enough classes. I didn't ever actually expect health to be involved at all this year. And so this is a lot of exceptions and stuff that have been made that I didn't expect at all, frankly.
okay, Vadim, you wanted to speak? Okay.
Yes, so I think the mistake that we are making here, this isn't about hating ethnic studies, it's about creating a positive opportunity for students. Any opportunity that students may have to either gain the benefit of time to take something that they can take this year and be free to focus their time on other subjects in the following years, this should be a welcome opportunity. So this is all about opportunity to take health. How students decide to take that opportunity, whether they stay in ethnic studies and in addition to that take health and receive the credit, or they drop ethnic studies and use the time from it to take health, is up to them. My ask is to consider this with sense of urgency because we want to give them opportunity to make a decision. You know, they want to drop ethnic studies to take health, they can do this without being penalized. And if they decide to take health while maintaining their enrollment in ethnic studies, fine as well. The gain that the students get is to be able to benefit from health, which teaches about mental health, about how to deal with stress, all the things that as a board we keep talking is very, very important. Yet we have not even a policy, we have a procedure or practice, we have a practice that precludes 9th graders from taking what we are saying is the most important, one of the most important courses to take early in their high school career. A 12th grader taking health is nearly useless. They are old enough. They've already learned things. They've already made mistakes. Letting them take the class that tells them about mistakes they've made is pointless. This is a class that needs to be taken in 9th grade. And with every passing year, it becomes less and less relevant. So my ask is, if you treat other things with sense of urgency, start treating students' needs with a sense of urgency. This is the most important thing. And I don't understand why we are waiting. This does not require board policy. It requires a simple action on administrative part. And I'm kindly asking you to take the action for something that you are okay with the board approving in the future. Do it now and let the students and the parents decide.
Okay, Esme, you haven't spoken. Did you wish to speak?
No, well, the only thing I'll say is that I think this era is important because I think not just with this, but generally, I don't think we've done a great job at having consistency in how we handle a lot of things. But I think in this case, for actually some of the logic that Vadim is saying, I think it is important to have consistency. Just like we have with other things that we've brought, the same urgency that we felt to address certain events that happen in the district, we should also feel that same urgency to make sure there's consistency in what we offer in the district, because ultimately, we're signing off on all diplomas, right, that students are earning. And so I think this allows us to feel confident that students are earning a quality education in our district. I hear the need for, what students may need now versus later. And I think what we're going to see is likely the pairing of health and ethnic studies freshman year for classes to come. That's what I assumed when the board made that decision. And I agree with Catherine that if the course was designed for year-long for this year, there is content that likely is important, and I heard that loudly from the teachers. And so I don't think, I think as long as there's options for students to be able to fulfill that requirement, that's important. And I think that's all I have to say right now.
Okay, so I want to agree that with both Vadim and Esme that there's a lack of alignment, or as you could say, inconsistency between the board policy, administrative regulation, and the language regarding course criteria, credit requirements, and the minimum classes required in MVLA. And this is being pointed out by Evan, and Evan, I said again, because I wanted to make sure that people knew that you had your identity correct. So I agree there's lack of alignment. I think it's important that we have that alignment correct, that we agree on that alignment. So I think this is not just an administrative regulation. I think it's a board policy as well. And I also agree with Catherine and Esme that ethnic studies currently is meant to be a year-long class. So you're welcome to drop it in the middle, but you're dropping it in the middle of the year-long class. I also agree with the dean that health is very important. MVLA already offers 2 established health models in person at the high schools and hybrid through the adult school. And actually, because I think health is so important, it directly addresses student well-being and safety. I'm not comfortable adding youth pathways without careful, thorough review. If this is a capacity issue, which it sounds like it is, I asked staff to come back with options to increase capacity within MVLA's existing health models. I know the issue of scheduling health may be new to some of our ninth grade families, but this scheduling constraint can arise when ninth graders choose to take a full year of social science, which aligns with the social studies department's recommendations. Now I realize the social studies department has not yet come back with electives. We've asked them. I'm now asking them a third time to come back with electives so students can, if they choose, to take a full year of social science. If that is the social studies department's recommendation.
We already had our registration process. I don't. think
Okay,
we-
well, in any case, I mean, there's also the next year, right? So this is, to me, if we're gonna have a policy, it should apply to, we serve all students. And we've supported students in completing health through MVLA's existing health pathways.
So can I paraphrase what I've heard from the board?
Actually, I'd like to address something that Ida mentioned. You mentioned two options that we have, right? Including adult school. Adult school indicated that they prioritize students who are over 16 years old to take health. It's understandable. I totally get it. But it's not a viable option for freshman students. Some students who are born in the summer would not be able to benefit from adult school, even a chance to take adult school, until their senior year. And like I said, health, and I believe I heard all of you guys, all of you fellow board members, talk about the importance of mental health, the importance of taking care and learning how to become a high school student is so important in ninth grade. So out of those two options, realistically, adult school is not an option for either freshmen or 10th graders. And because of the impact of 1 year long ethnic study, if we do nothing now and allow students the choice of taking health outside of the district, because the district is not capable of providing health option this year, next year we will have nearly double the demand for health. We will be required to hire temporary teachers for 1 year, then we will be laying them off because the demand will cease. Makes no sense. That we can actually help ourselves, it's good for everybody. To allow students to just tell the families that if you want to go today and register for a health class from an accredited institution, that you can do that and we will accept this as a credit for your school year. Whether people choose to do it, it's up to them. We need to explain to them when they need to do it, by when they need to finish it, all of those things that need to be clarified for the families. But do it now, don't wait, we've already waited for a month. Like, why wait any longer? That's the point I want to make.
So to paraphrase the comments that I heard from the board, I've heard two board members talk about consistency, talk about ethnic studies being a year-long class over 2 semesters. There's 3 who said that?
Yes.
Okay, 3 who said that. However, one of those, so nothing new to add for 2 people, nothing new to add to this regulation. I heard one person that wants this regulation, at least in terms of, I heard one person say there shouldn't be any limitation to what a student takes outside of MVLA for their 40 credits, and that we should immediately allow students to take health online. And then I heard one person say they don't have any problems with the policy in terms of taking classes. However, we shouldn't allow students to take health online. That's what I heard from the 4 board members here tonight. Any corrections to that? Until we come up with reasonable, what I heard from Theta is that we need to come up with viable ways to offer health to a greater number of students over the next 3 years.
Now, when we do like capital improvement, like change the library or whatever, you're not going to have the library until it's done. And there's an interim period. And I kind of feel it's not exactly this way, but this was the interim period. We change the rule now. What if we had waited? We couldn't wait till later because of schedule building for next year. But that means that we have this odd situation for this 1 year where if you don't want to take ethnic study, the second half, which in theory is important because it is a year-long class, you can go ahead and drop it. And like I said, I was never thinking health would be involved one way or another. And so
That's correct.
and so that's still available to take health in the summer from the adult school. But is it because you have to be 16
Or online.
or online?
If this policy passes as written, as soon as it's written, students can enroll in an online class for health
Anywhere?
anywhere, at least if they're a freshman, sophomore, or junior.
Oh, well, then I don't know what we're discussing then. Did you not realize that, Vadim, that they could take it online
No,
after this is approved?
I do realize, but I object to restricting students for taking only core classes. This approval comes with a lot of caveats. I think we should separate the needs of the students, allow them to take health online, just like this policy states, and either continue discussion or reject the restrictiveness of requiring the students not only satisfy 40, can only take a maximum of 40 credits from outside of the district, but have to take core classes within the district. Because we will run into situations where there will be students
Oh,
who
okay.
cannot graduate because they're required to take core classes within the district. And I don't think this is a necessary restriction. It as a part of this, what we're doing now, there's no need for that.
I was just wondering if our student board members had anything to say. They might need to get out of here to go study or something, but do you have anything to say on this subject? I'm curious.
To confirm, is this in regards to health or any outside of school class?
This is regarding our alternative credits. So it's our, what's known in MVLA as our OOD policy, which is on the website already. It was not previously approved in an administrative regulation, which is consistent with Palo Alto and Fremont. However, we also wanted to pull it back to just our core graduation requirements. So that's what it's about. The health part is only an acknowledgement that 3 classes had 40 credits of social studies. And so we were going to waive health for 3 classes. That's something that we're going to put in this policy so it's clear for everyone that health is not for the classes of 27, 28, and 29.
I see. So if someone wanted to take a math class outside of the school, would this affect that or no?
So not if they took 2 math classes for the core math program in MVLA.
Any two here
I
and
see.
any others outside.
So you could accelerate, which is controversial to some. You could accelerate, but you still have to complete 2 years of math within this district and 2 years of science within this district.
Okay. I would say that I don't really have too much to add. So long as I think having the opportunity for students to do the adult health option, which I think you said is still allowed through this method, which is something that I was able to do. So I would say as long as that's taken into consideration, that's pretty much all I have to say. No, I'm older than 16.
I think that's something that we could change if we wanted to as a board. That is a policy
I
currently.
think we'd have to look into that adult ed.
Okay, well, I mean, we could look into option at a hybrid option at MVLA. My main concern is that if it's offered at MVLA versus some, online provider, we know that it's being taught. As you said, it's very important that it be taught to students. It addresses some very sensitive issues. And so currently we have 2 pathways. And I think I'm just not comfortable adding pathways without careful, thorough review. We're talking about students' well-being and safety. So to me, if the adult school is 16, then maybe we could have a hybrid option somehow for below 16. I'm not sure, but I think we could weigh those options. But I think just opening it up and saying you can just take it anywhere is kind of a 180 from how we've been operating in regards to student mental health.
Honestly, I guess my biggest concern for this policy is again the fact that there is that 16-year-old limit. There are a lot of students who come into school being on the younger side. Like I have a friend who came into high school when she was 12, and I myself came into high school when I was 14. So I would have to wait couple of years for me to be able to take that health course. And I have not yet taken the health course, so that is a different situation for me because I would still have to take it later. But for someone in my situation who is coming into high school younger, already having that younger, being on the younger side, and then still not being able to take that prime opportunity in between freshman year and sophomore year to take that health class is definitely difficult because I'm struggling myself right now to find a spot where I can take health because I didn't take it between freshman and sophomore year. But now it's either I take it senior year and have 7 classes, which I don't really want to do, or
Are you a junior this year?
yes, I'm a junior this year,
Okay.
or I would take it over the summer this year.
So
But that is also a really prime time for a lot of people who are applying to summer programs, who have jobs outside of school, who have other activities outside of school during that summer. Like I work as a lifeguard, it'd be very difficult for me to take that time off from my job to pour a lot of time and a lot of effort into this summer program. So I think that 16-year-old bar is definitely something to consider. Overall, I think having that 2-year limit on the courses that we have to take at school is good. I don't think we have middle college as an option. We have college now as an option for students who want to do something like that. That is open to them. But it's personally for me, I felt like the high school experience and having that high school experience was very crucial to building my character. So there are definitely aspects of this policy that I agree with and aspects that I do not.
Just a clarification to your point, Lucy. This is an issue for the current, like the students who are enrolled currently. Any incoming students have the option of taking health maybe freshman year because they have room now, right, in seat. Just wanted to clarify that. Okay.
Yeah, the urgency is more for the Lucys of the world that
Right.
are in juniors that didn't have room in their schedule this year.
Right.
But if this were to pass on March 9th, then she would be able to enroll into an online class right after it passed and be able to take it outside of the district.
So if you're saying that it, I have to reread the policy now, that we've gone through so many iterations this evening. But you would be able to take it online.
For just juniors, sophomores,
And freshmen.
and freshmen. Because next year's freshman has the opportunity to take it along with.
So current juniors, sophomores, and freshmen.
Correct.
Got
Next year's sophomores, juniors, and seniors.
Well,
because we wouldn't want Lucy to have 7 periods one
right.
semester.
Now, for instance, Evan, wouldn't that suit you? That your child could take it online? I mean, for instance?
We can
I mean,
Point
I'm
of
just,
order.
since he was one
Point
of
of
the ones,
order, we can't address the audience. That's, yeah.
well, they addressed us. And we're
Yeah, but
allowed to ask a
that's-
question back.
No,
That's
no.
not true. In the actual voting, for non-agendized items, we can't, but for agendized items,
This is an,
can't we ask a question?
It's not typical protocol for a board to engage
Okay.
with the community.
Yeah.
I have a ninth grader, you can ask me a question. How's that?
Yeah, let's keep this conversation to the board. It's a
Yeah.
board discussion. I would also just caution us that when community members are reaching out to us, talking to us and passing part of group chats, that's some representation of the community. That's not everyone.
I
So I think
understand,
let's
Mr.
just
But-
keep that in mind also.
I actually have a question I think would be important for us to know, for you, Eric. If a student takes a online class, let's say in March 1st, in order to get a credit, do they have to finish this class before the end of the semester?
It's when they finish the class, they bring their completed class to, it doesn't have to be done this year. No, I don't, no, it's when the class
Okay.
is completed.
So they can finish, and Terry is nodding, so, okay, so they can finish anytime, they can start anytime, they can finish anytime, and whenever they bring the transcript, they get a credit for that, whatever the, yeah.
Deadline is usually a 6-week and 8-week course.
so Terry, sorry, could you go to the microphone so that we can hear your answers? Because we can't hear you. The video can't pick up your responses. Thank you.
Usually an online class is not open-ended to infinity. It
Yeah.
will give you a structure of time, but that time limit isn't matched with our semesters. So Eric was correct.
Yeah, thank you. That's twice tonight that somebody said that. It's Layla earlier. We do that all the time with Foothill. Foothill is, their quarters don't work within our school year. And so a lot of times that third quarter class goes past and then the students come back during the summer and give us the completed transcript, and then we post those credits.
So if the student brings this in the summer, when do you post the credit for the fall semester of for the fall semester, not the future?
But it's a separate item on the transcript because it's coming from outside of the district.
So it's not bound to our semesters, so it doesn't matter. Basically says you get the credit for health. Yeah.
So whenever the student brings the transcript in, we place it whenever the student brings the added district transcript to us, we place it on their MVLA transcript. So it could go in between, let's say, spring semester and the next fall semester, but it will note that it was not an MVLA class, that it was a class taken from whatever outside organization.
The only criteria would be, of course, you have to finish them all and have them posted to your transcript before you graduate, if it was needed for
If you're
graduation.
using it for, you're not required to post this class on your transcript. So some students will take a class and not even bring the transcript to us, but they can use that for their college admittance and their college credits.
Right.
So I had a question about the 16 requirement. How is that? Is it because it's the adult school? Why is that requirement there?
It's been our practice. If Julie do you know of any law or ed code regarding adult ed participation and age? My previous district, no students involved could be enrolled in adult ed until they were 17 and a half, but
Yeah. As far as my research goes, there's no ed code that prohibits age 16. It's up to board policy. It's in alignment with board policy. The practice of the minimum age of 16 is the minimum age for a concurrent credit
it's tied to
credit recovery referral. A new practice has been referring students over for health for advancement, so that's a different thing. The age requirement does not pertain to students in the summer school. That is different than concurrent credit recovery during the school year. I hope that helps to clarify.
So concurrent enrollment ed code you could have a less than minimum day of 240 minutes on average for juniors and seniors enrolled in concurrent enrollment. So that's probably where this age 16, it's actually juniors and seniors. So we talk about the number of classes you have to have in order to be a minimum day in school. That's a different board policy and a different administrative reg. So that's where that comes from.
Lucy, you had a comment or question?
I guess my question, concurrent enrollment, that's dual enrollment, correct?
Nope.
Oh,
It's
Okay.
different. Concurrent enrollment means you take a class at Foothill on Foothill's time, Foothill's schedule. You go and you enroll in Foothill and you take a class. That's concurrent enrollment.
Mhm.
You don't see that as much anymore, but it could be a government class that you know you're going to be taking the next year in college, right?
Mhm.
And that means you're concurrently enrolled. You may not even use those credits on your transcript, but you are enrolled in high school and you're enrolled in college. Dual enrollment is when you go to class at Mountain View or Los Altos and you get both credit for the high school class that you're in and junior college.
Okay. Okay.
So I'm not really seeing a reason because, I mean, this is actually a high school class. This is not an adult school class. So I'm not seeing a reason for the age limit. And I understand it's been practiced, but I think actually that would be a better solution as proposed actually by the two student trustees is to not have that age limit so that students could actually take it from the adult school. And then we still have the two pathways that already exist for students that we know address student well-being and safety. So that's what I propose as a compromise to ensure that our students are still we're clear basically to address any, we talked about inconsistencies, and I think introducing an online component with introduces a lot of inconsistencies, and this is a very important class. So I think relaxing that restriction and saying if you're enrolled in our high schools, you can take the adult school option, I think is a reasonable compromise.
Is adult school available during the school year or it's just summer? Yeah,
The adult school can accept referrals during the school year for health.
it can.
It can.
And it's
your
in seat.
capacity is what?
I think the capacity from now until the end of term is we have about 50 spots. I don't know how many students are looking to take.
Is that 50 spots per semester for all of MVLA? Is that the capacity that you have to offer help?
That is correct.
Okay.
Yes, I mean, I could potentially bring in another teacher if needed. We can see.
And the students would be able to do it
Yes.
now?
That is correct. We are piloting the EdgeX California Healthy Youth Act compliant version of health. And it is a hybrid version, so students are required to come in on a weekly basis to check in with their teachers, and their projects require them to submit videos, show what their learning is through verbal response, meeting with the teacher. Yes.
Okay, so to confirm, this option is available to them if we vote on this policy and approve this policy in the next board meeting, which will be in March.
This option is available now. The adult school can take the students provided there is a counselor referral. That is the official legal document that the adult school needs to serve students as a district program.
Okay, we will have counselor support on after March for all students who are waiting to take health this year.
There's questions. It's not as simple as that. how would we prioritize enrollment? These are all the things, and this is why this never-ending story continues to happen, because we keep making we keep trying to accommodate individual requests rather than having a set policy. And so, okay, let's hire another teacher for now, but then we possibly won't need this teacher in 2 years, but then do we owe them then there are those. That's a whole nother personnel matter. And then there's the referral process. Do we give priority to the juniors before we give priority to freshmen, which has been the case in the past? And so Lucy right now could go to her counselor and get a referral to go to adult ed, however she's choosing not to. So I think that just creates a lot more questions than actual answers by this process.
I respectfully disagree. I think opening it up to online, which is completely wide open, this is an established process. What you're saying is it's a capacity issue. I understand it's a capacity issue. I understand there's a bubble. That's why we hired teachers to, we can hire teachers and tell them this is for a bubble. To me, this is a resource issue. That's why we hire people, is to help us with resource issues. So to me, basing a policy on a resource issue is kind of backwards. We should be looking at what's best for students. And then if we need more capacity based on what's happened, then we should, I would respectfully ask that staff come back with a proposal on how we can address the capacity issue that we have currently. Because it sounds like we already had a capacity issue already, based on what Lucy said, that she didn't take. And this has happened for years, actually. This is not the first time I've heard. I mean, this has been going on for years, that students don't take health in 9th grade. Yeah, I mean, it's difficult because we previously didn't have a 1 semester class to pair it with. So this has been a capacity issue for a long time.
Sorry, just to clarify, I don't know if there was confusion in what I said, but I didn't not take health between freshman and sophomore year because of a capacity issue. I was enrolled and then I dropped out for other reasons.
Okay.
Just to clarify.
So,
but in general with juniors and so on.
but your situation is very common for many students, right? But for example, right now, counselors are telling students that they cannot take health. So this is where we have an inconsistent message. And I do agree that trying ourselves to accommodate to the current students, we will run into issues that we are not even able to understand right now. So I'm on another side of your opinion. I'm not advocating that we just open up the door to adult school. I mean, do whatever is possible. Obviously, that will be a welcome move. I'm advocating that we enable students to take health from accredited institutions while we are working towards facilitating doing it in-house with no restrictions. That creates an opportunity for freshman students. Because by all means, if any class that we offer in seat that is educational for the students, that is high quality, will be taken in seats. Nobody wants to go out and pay the money and take something online or outside of school hours. That's not the goal. The goal is to achieve the opportunity which we currently cannot supply. And that opportunity already exists. So right now we are like artificially restricting students from accessing that opportunity. So until we are capable of fully providing this opportunity, my suggestion is to offer it.
And then to add to that, part of our out-of-district policy is that it is a parent's responsibility to make sure that the organization that they're taking a class from is accredited in the state of California. So that is a part of our OOD policy, to your point.
Yeah.
Well, Vadim, though, if the adult school can accommodate the students with the counselor's note, then why would they need to go anywhere else?
Good point. I don't know. Make it available. Right now, students are going to counselor says you can't. There's no room for you, right? The message from administration was that you cannot take health through adult school or online. But again, this is not a good precedence to put people on the spot. So I appreciate you sharing the opportunity, but this decision should not be taken like, on the spot that it's available. So I don't want a community to think, tomorrow students to run to the council and say, give me the paper because, we said that this opportunity is available.
And there are opportunities for us to expand staff in adult ed, but as of right now, there are 50 seats at adult ed. It has not been our practice to allow freshmen, sophomores, predominantly juniors and seniors, 16-year-olds. And so those 50 seats are for those upper. If we were to open it up to freshmen and sophomores, how would we prioritize those 50 seats for the 2,200 freshmen and sophomores that may want to take help? That's a very, and part of this is trying to apply our policies equitably to all of our students. And I don't know how we can do that this semester. If it were a first come, first served basis, do we look at students that are down credits already? Do we apply them? So, I mean, we could address adult ed down the road and the 16-year-old requirement and so on, but that is why we have a policy that allows kids to take any class that they failed online from an accredited school. It allows them to put on their transcript marine biology from an accredited institution that they can't take in our district. Just extending that for 3 years for students that did not have that opportunity, freshmen, sophomores, makes a lot of sense. And we're not under a time constraint to have it done before June 9th, the end of the semester. I think it's June 9th.
So do other districts offer online health?
Other districts will, most districts like this will allow online health if it is a remedial class, but other districts did not have a year of ethnic studies and 40 credits of social studies for 3 previous years. So that's why there's just that one exception to this policy. After this year's freshmen are done, no one will be allowed to take health outside of MVLA. So since I've heard, I don't know where to go with this policy. I think it's important that we move forward with it, but at the same time, I've heard differing opinions. So in terms of moving forward, do I bring this policy or do you want to send it back and have us work on it again with some other types of?
Well, I don't know, Theta, do you think we should have a study session? Do you think we should have them look it over some more? What? But I like to call the question for tonight, frankly. I think we've heard everything we have to say so far tonight. I don't know if you can call a question when it was only.
Yeah, no.
But I mean, I would like to kind of move on, let's put it that way, but I don't know what the right next step is.
Okay, so we do need to give direction on sort of what the next step is. So I guess the question before us, or 2 questions, is one, is can you scroll down to the, can you scroll? As one, do we agree with the administrative regulations about out of district course guidelines? I think what I heard was that I didn't hear anyone. I heard the dean did not want that. I think for the other trustees, I heard.
What?
No, the restrictions. So
Yeah.
the restrictions, I think what I heard was consistency from both, from three of us. So that's Esme, Catherine, and myself. And currently that is what is on the website. So that would be consistency. So, and then for this other question, the classes of 2027, be allowed to take a health course outside of the MVLA. What I had proposed was, looking at the adult school as an option and looking at capacity. So how we could temporarily increase our capacity. Because to me, if we have a capacity problem, the way to address that is through resources and not through changing how students take a core class, but especially one that's as important as health.
My advocacy is to separate these two issues, right? We can have agreements, disagreements about the core classes, but create opportunity for students to take health, and it's an independent decision. And it's a temporary capacity issue. So it makes it challenging for the district and financially, I think, irresponsible to have an influx of accommodation when that accommodation is already available through accredited institutions. I don't really understand why we would struggle so much. We're just taking this ask of 27th to 29th school year and reversing our statement and telling students that they can take it online and that we will give them credit. And they can go tomorrow and register for the class and bring us a transcript. Because
I don't find that simple. I think actually health is if you look at the subject matter of health, I think it's a very involved class. There's a lot of topics discussed that are very sensitive. And I think having it being taken through MVLA supports students. So
Sure.
that is my opinion.
But you realize that right now, our practice is that if students take health or any class in MVLA and they fail, they can go outside of MVLA and take it to remediate their failure. So
Well,
why
that's a
would we?
different question. They've already had the exposure to our two pathways. We've
So,
always had that as a policy, that if a student fails a class, that they have a second chance outside of the district.
to
That's different policy.
yeah, I know. But to remediate a failure, they can do it online. But to take it without actually failing it inside of MVLA, we are not going to allow them.
It's two different things. So
So
the first
just
time-
for the sake of us moving forward, what I think I heard was three of us are fine with the majority of this. And I heard you, Theta, say you want to explore the adult ed possibility, which I don't think necessarily impacts this as an AR. Is that accurate?
It only impacts it for the last part with the class of 27, 28, and 29.
So I guess that's what we need to see next
And
time
and
to consider.
what my suggestion is that I bring this back. If it does not pass, then we can figure out what we need to do to make it pass. Because board members may not completely agree on something, but if the majority of the board agrees on it, then it becomes our policy. And that if we don't have a majority that agrees with this, then we can come back. We've got extended cabinet. We can also discuss this down the road, but I not hearing any general consensus as far as how this should change. One person likes health, likes the exemption for the three classes. One person does not. There's questions as to whether or not other districts do this. They do, they just don't have it written down and the board doesn't vote on it. So, or we continue our current practice and have our OOD policy as written. It's on our website.
Okay, so it sounds like everyone has made their points, right? Catherine? No? Okay. All right, so everyone has given their points to Eric. We feel we've summarized everything. And so now we're ready to move on, or are there any more? I just want to make sure, because this is an important thing we're discussing, so I want to make sure that we've discussed it to the point where when it comes back, people are like, okay, this is kind of what I expected. So is everyone clear on what is going to come back? Probably. Yes, okay. All right, so we're not taking a vote since that was an information item. Now we're going to move on to another information item, which is our mid-year LCAP updated, presented by Associate Superintendent Terry Falk.
And this is required by law. Yes.
And Lucy and Claire already gave feedback from our MSAC meeting. Thank you, Lucy. Good evening, trustees. Thank you for the opportunity to provide you an update on our local control and accountability plan. As Eric mentioned, back in several years ago, the state required a mid-year check-in. I see this like going to a doctor's visit where you're going and just seeing how's everything running smoothly? Are there things that are showing under or over from where the metrics or the funding should be at halfway through? And if so, are there any kind of adjustments that should be made? And that's the purpose of this update. With that said, the components of the update are not in full completion. And so we'll take a look at the metrics. Some of our metrics, we know the outcomes already, and we'll share those today. Some of the metrics are still in progress or have not been completed yet. And so those will come at the June end of year update. Same thing with our expenditures and implementation. We're halfway through implementing this year. We're halfway through the funding. And so we'll just see that halfway point when we talk about these indicators of the metrics. Quick checkpoint with the overall funding. Part of the local control and accountability plan is that it is a funding source that allows us to control how we want to spend our money to best support the goals and actions and students that we are working towards targeting improvement. Last year, the board approved for the total LCFF funds was 129 million and some change, as well as the supplementals. And that is more geared towards students with exceptional needs. According to LCAP, that's defined as your English learners, your foster youth, and your students living in poverty. And we have 1,700,000 and some thousand for students that we need to particularly show how we are doing outreach and actions towards those three student groups. And what is submitted to the state, which is what we don't see here, is a lot of explanation around how those three student groups are being impacted through our actions. And it's part of the state requirement. So with that said, let's get into the update. As a reminder, we have two major goals that we're supporting with our 3-year LCAP, and we are on year 2 with this LCAP. Our one goal is about tier 1 instruction, what's taking place in the classroom, and creating a classroom that is inclusive, it's diverse, and it fosters a sense of belonging so that all students have agency to communicate and learn with their peers, from their peers, as well as their teacher. Our second goal is about our tiers of support and intervention from the classroom to the outside of the classroom on our school campuses. And how is those tiers supporting academic success, but also college and career readiness? So as we take a look at our goal number 1, which is focused on classroom instruction, tier 1 instruction to support diversity and inclusivity. The major components of this goal is one, how are we training and supporting our teachers to provide consistent tier 1 pedagogical approaches that give students access to rigorous curriculum? The second, how are we supporting our teachers to have grade level standard curriculum that is aligned with course-alike teachers? And the other two is, again, going into that inclusivity and diversity value. How are we supporting students with special needs, IEPs, 504s as an example in our classroom, as well as students who are multilingual learners, including those who have not reached proficiency in the English language, but are engaging in English only with their English only peers. When we take a look at the metrics, and this is showing how are we doing so far on those actions that lead to our overall goal, what I have up here as the metrics is not new to us. We've talked about these a couple of times this year already in our board meetings. Our work with monitoring our values and monitoring our work is not just a requirement for the LCAP. It is part of how we do our work at MVLA. The BRIC, as it is now known, is one of the many factors that we look at ourselves annually and see where are we growing, where are we still having areas of growth. And so what I'm sharing with you, as just noted, we've already talked about the SBAC at our last meeting. To do a quick revision of that, as we look at the mid-year, this was our 2025 SBAC scores. We have seen strong achievement in almost all subgroups within the SBAC, ELA, and math, improving from the past year. And that also includes our socioeconomically disadvantaged, our English learners, and our students with disability have all improved. Yet some of our populations are still below standard. Recognizing that our work is making improvements, but it is important that we stick with this work so that we can continue to close the gap between the all students and some more of our underrepresented populations. We also see, as we move into the next slide, still under goal 1, which is about fostering that inclusive, belonging environment in the classroom. We have also seen improvement or increases on our data for the California Healthy Kids Survey. That includes academic motivation, students feeling connected to school and class, students agreeing that they have a caring adult relationship that they can connect with on campus. And as we look at our baseline from the 23-24 to 2 years later, 25-26 data, we do see an increase of this as well. And lastly, 1.14, we saw that our English learners, our multilingual learners, was a action item that we wanted to elevate and support in our tier 1 to foster their belonging as well as academic success. And one of the several indicators that I'm showing here is that we've seen increase of our students' proficiency within the LPAC score. So some nice progress that we're making in goal number 1. Goal number 2, which is about the tiers of intervention, but also the tiers of support beyond academic success, also college and career readiness. A couple of, let me just pause for a second. Forgot about the expenditures. So this slide is showing some of the expenditures that we predicted when this was board approved in June. The budgeted expenditure is what we were predicting. The actuals is where we're at right now. We're very close to being on target for 1.4 and 1.5, our students with special needs and our multilingual learners. Where we're a little under from what our expenditure was predicted was with 1.1 and 1.3. 2 reasons for that. As we're finishing up our training on constructing meaning, we're no longer needing to pull out as many teachers from class for subs. And so we've seen a decrease in that expenditure, and we're doing a lot of the work within the district-wide professional day plans. A lot of appreciation for site administration and the continued focus on the tier 1 instruction that they're doing and working with their teachers during the PD days, as well as 1.2, which is around supporting teachers in courses for growing their curriculum, aligning their curriculum. We've needed to make some modifications this year with attending conferences with the one-time money from grants expiring, as well as just some tighter budgets from the state. We have had to be a little bit more selective in supporting conferences and minimizing those teachers that are needing to do travel plans like flights and lodging and conference fees. And so again, just seeing a little bit of a shift there. But again, that is to support where we're currently at with our funding. As far as goal 2, as I mentioned, the multi-tier systems of support, this outlines some of the actions that, and this is, very bulleted here, that we're working to support, working with our academic and career counselors to ensure that they are supporting college and career, but also tier 2 interventions for students with academic challenges. Strengthening our collaboration with college and career partners. This includes Foothill and De Anza with things like dual enrollment, as Mr. Volta talked a little bit earlier, as well as direct enrollment, getting our students signed up and ready to go to Foothill before they even graduate, so that barrier is removed. A couple other examples are about improving and expanding intervention services through targeted support, what we're doing with advisory period, using programs like Alex or IXL that provides targeted support with math as a couple of examples. Continuing to work with our health and wellness program to ensure that we are there when a student is in a crisis, but also that we are building a preventative system as well. And lastly, taking a look at our special education system. And that was not lastly, this is lastly, as well as our career and technical education that provides not just content learning in the classroom, but really does expand that college and career readiness, as well as understanding of opportunities right within the course and the pathway itself. Where are we at in our goals for this? Again, really proud to see the continued upward trend. I feel that it's very difficult often for districts that are showing as much success as MVLA is to continue to grow in our achievements. We're seeing improvement of our dual enrollment class, a lot of appreciation with our partnership for Foothill, as well as Dr. Amber Woodward, who has been very much the key collaborator with Foothill in supporting that. Percentage of graduates meeting A to G requirements. Again, we see continued growth within this, taking a look at our systems and ensuring all students are having access to A to G coursework, but also our teachers and our students for meeting that C level, as well as getting the rigorous all those rigorous classes on their transcript. We have seen a decrease in absenteeism, and that is a challenge, and a lot of appreciation for both schools, as well as William Blair, who has started to build systems of outreach and targeting and phone calls and calling in students with tardies. Just really taking a lot of serious effort to decrease the amount of out of seat time that we're seeing from our students. As they say, if you're not in seat, you have difficulty learning. So that's important for us. 2.17, I think, is a great example. So this represents the number of students completing restorative practices. In particular, 2.17 was about a practice called Ripple Effects, which is an online program that provides targeted learning, anything from anger management to substance abuse to social regulation or social emotional, social connectedness. And we've seen a decrease across the last couple of years instead of an increase. And what this tells us is perhaps this isn't an effective program that we initially thought it was, whether it's the outcome results with the students or the system that can support it. And so that this gives us better understanding of perhaps at this point, we want to expire this program and continue to either use our current other restorative practice programs or seek something different. And so that decrease is not always a bad thing. It is also just telling us how it's currently working or struggling to work and making decisions from there.
May I ask a question? What are your other choices? I mean,
Sorry, I think we were holding questions till the end, right?
well, you tell me.
Okay, we're holding questions till
Okay,
the end
okay.
because
I'll come back
otherwise
to
I'm
that,
gonna get
Catherine. Thank you.
interrupted multiple times. So,
A couple more metrics here. Number of students accessing the Wellness Center has gone up over the year from when it started to now. This is duplicated numbers, so you may have one student that shows up on a daily. That daily is counted in the 771. And our wellness centers are the Spartan Spot and the Eagle Escape. The FPC meetings, family partnership meetings, we've been, again, under the leadership of Michelle Bissonette and Eric Volta, have been seeing steady membership. And I will say, as somebody who has presented and gotten feedback from what I was presenting, it's a real strong group. I feel that this is a great model of a partnership between educators and families coming together to either learn together or give feedback or feed forward together on our different practices and initiatives here. 2.37, we see that again with a CTE has been a focus since we started this LCAP goal 2 years ago. We have seen increase as well in our CTE program and our CTE completers. Where we're at with our funding, with currently our goal 2, we are pretty on target with what we predicted as the expenditures in this. Some of this funding is about the staffing that supports it. For instance, 2.8, our wellness program, 2.10, the systems that support our multilingual learners. These are the people that we have in place to support the system, as well as just some resources that would be embedded. And then something like 2.12, not only is it including staffing, but we also have grants that support this, and we have to report out to the grants how much we're going to be spending that year. So our budget expenditure is usually pretty close for what we predicted for those reasons. So all of that to say, we have 2 very large goals that is student focused through and through. One, the meat and potatoes of what we do in the classroom, tier 1 instruction, rigorous curriculum that supports our students being ready for college and career, as we've seen with A to G completion, decrease in D's and F's, increase of AP scores, increase of SBAC scores, and second, supporting our system as a whole child, from mental health to career exploration to needing some target interventions from academic struggles. We have embedded that in our LCAP goals, and we couldn't be more proud of the work that we're doing, and a lot of appreciation for the immense hard work from our administrators at the district, our administrators at the site, our teachers, our IAs, our support staff, bilingual liaisons, bilingual secretaries. It takes a village to support these audacious goals, and proud to be able to share with you where we're at right now. Thank you.
okay,
And Catherine, to answer your question about if we're not using ripple effects, what other methods are we using? One of the probably most successful methods that we're using is the human one-on-one. And that is our administrators taking time to meet and check in with the student, turning the behavior situation into not just a consequence or a discipline, but also a learning opportunity. Oftentimes in a situation, they may make a referral to a clinician to be able to grapple with some of the emotions that they're feeling, the student may be feeling. The online program just didn't seem to be the most successful for being a contributor with that.
So have you looked into other online ones that could help or not yet?
Not yet. So we had earlier this year, earlier first semester, a conversation with our administration about the decrease of ripple effects and potentially removing it. And there was not, there was more or less an overall consensus that we could move away from it. We didn't have the conversation of, do we need to replace it? Do we have a hole without it? Or is our current system sustainable enough without needing to bring in one more thing to manage, which is what the ripple effects ended up feeling. It was one of that.
Yeah,
feeling.
or do you have enough staff to do all these one-on-ones? You know, that's the trade-off. Anyway.
And that does take a toll on our, good.
That was my question.
Okay, Esme or Vadim, do either of you have any questions or comments? If you could raise your hand. Vadim? Okay.
With the budgets and the expenditures, are they actuals for half a year?
Correct.
Okay,
Currently where they're at right now.
Okay, so if the rate continues, then we should double this number, right?
Correct.
To compare them with what we budgeted.
Correct. Yes. This was pulled sometime in January. So correct.
So for the improve and expand intervention services, we budgeted 235,000. We already at 240,000.
That's because it is taken into, which one did you say? What number?
I don't know, it's cut off here, something 0.5. Let me look online. On the printed version.
About the okay.
Yeah, thank you. So a lot of the programs that we use for the intervention are online programs, and we have to buy the subscription up front for the whole year.
All right. Okay.
Okay, Esme? Okay. I just have a few questions about the data, specifically about disaggregating data. So, on 1.7 through 1.9, I would be really interested to see our students with disabilities data, because we have seen success with our ELs, and I would like to know if we're if we're showing low numbers, and that would indicate an area where possibly we could work on. And then also, just going through this, I had a similar question to the dean, but you answered it. On 20.19, obviously the 771 students is a great number, but I would be curious to know the percentage, if you could, because the goal you had is percentage.
And we have that breakdown. We could email it to you.
Yeah, so if you could
Or incorporate it.
I'm just asking for future.
Yep.
I'm not asking for it now. I'm just saying for future reports. And then I think that was it. Let me just go through it one more time.
All right. Thank you,
Oh,
everybody.
sorry, there was 2.4 percentage of students enrolled in a dual enrolled course. If you could disaggregate that as well, because that's also right, the goal of the LCAP is to have that disaggregate. So I'm not sure why that's is it too small a number? Is that why?
We can disaggregate it. When we started out with just 2%. We're
Yeah,
getting
it
down
makes
to,
sense. I agree.
yeah.
But if your goal is 20%, you're going to clearly have like more, the numbers are going to be more significant, I hope. Right, your goal is to increase it to 20%, but include our all students, right? So, yeah.
So that's
Anyway.
that's part of the LCAP review process, is as we go from our mid-year report to starting to prepare for the end of the year. And we talk to families, we talk to students, we talk to staff, to board. One of the elements is, are there any items that we need to discontinue? Are there any items that we need to modify? And as an example, what I'm hearing a request from you is for 2.4, let's modify it by disaggregating it, moving from this year and into the next year as well.
Yeah, and then just the other thing was sorry, I need to look up the acronym, the CASC. Also, I think, because finding that out, since we have a variety of students with disabilities, finding out if they feel connected to the school.
Oh, the California Healthy Kids Survey?
Yes,
You
yeah,
got it.
exactly. Yeah, thank you.
All right, thank you, everybody.
Anyone else? Okay. All right. So
May I just say that I do like the format of this particular report that has I'm into matrices, that, has it, and it's concise in each column. It's not like read a lot of words to try to pull out the actual data. So it's just like pretty clear here. Thanks.
yeah, thank you very much, Terry. This was a good report. I think the board really appreciated having the update. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
All right. Now we move on to 14.0. No, sorry. We move on to 14.0 biz board operations. So we move to board suggestions for future board reports and meetings. So I think we already have a list, but if folks want to add to it. Catherine.
Is it, I would like to have kind of a review of how MTSS works in our district, both academically and in mental health. And maybe it's a study session rather than that. Or maybe we should delay that till next year.
Okay.
But eventually it would be nice to have a chart.
Okay, how do other board members feel about that? Yes, okay, would you like to have it as a study session or have it as an agenda item?
I think a study, I mean, we're way too early to want to make any action on this. It's just a matter of having a presentation on how it works right now, and then, just kind of some announcement,
Right, okay. I think, does everyone agree with that? I think that's true, but I just want to get, I need to ask for, okay, great. So a study session on MTSS. Okay. is there
both
anything-
academic and mental health.
Okay.
Because there's like kind of.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, well, I would have probably put behavioral and emotional together, but yeah.
Okay, great. All right. So any other topics? All right. Seeing none, let's move on to 14.2 communications correspondence. I see here candidates for the Santa Clara County Committee on School District Organization. All right. So can you pull that up? Okay, so
That's info
hopefully-
though. We're not voting on them right now, are we?
Yes, so this is basically a letter. I mean, I just want to make sure you all saw it, right? It's a letter about the candidates that you should read for later action. Okay. All right, so is there any other communication / correspondence? Okay, all right, so moving on to 14.3 legislative updates.
None.
Okay. All right, so moving on, our next meeting is March 9th, right here at the district office boardroom at 7 p.m. Okay, so then we move on to adjournment. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second. I have 2 seconds.
Second, third,
I
fourth.
guess. Well, technically you don't need to vote.